Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today I'm going to be talking about step 9, which is the step where we make amends to people. And what I wanted to talk about is what that experience has been like for me and the importance of and how that might be related to staying away from the first drink. So these were two topics that came up for me this morning. And I was really thinking about how related they are, because it is that fear of doing these things, making amends, standing up and saying, this was my role, and this is what I'm going to do about it for the rest of my life, or this is what I'm doing now, because that's what we need to focus on. So when I was drinking, the first thing that came to mind this morning for me when I heard we were talking about step 9, I was thinking about how I don't remember most of the things that I'm supposed to make amends for. And that's been a challenge for me. The readings say that we don't need to rehash, we don't need to sit down and name the things that we did, which is good because I can't name them. I don't know what they are. I always claimed that I was not a blackout drinker until this morning when I was thinking about this whole thing. I thought, I guess I was a blackout drinker, because all the things that I know happened that need amends, I don't remember what I don't remember what happened. I have one in particular, one amends that I knew that I needed to do the amends, but I didn't know what I was making amends for, because I don't remember what happened. So I was on my way to work one morning and I was drinking, because that's what I did in the end of my drinking days. I had a water bottle that was colored a certain color, so you couldn't tell what was inside the water bottle. And I was drinking on the way to work for an hour and a half. I know, it's crazy. But I, at some point, got on the phone with one of my loved ones, and I proceeded to apparently say negative things about their spouse. And I don't know what I said. I don't remember it at all. But the only way that I know that it happened is because that person called me on the way home from work that day, where I was drinking again, and explained to me that I hurt their feelings. And I was really like, my heart was racing. I felt terrible. And I was so apologetic. But the thing was, I didn't remember what I said. And then I have tried since then to find out what I said without blatantly asking. I've never been told what I said. So when it was time for me to make my amends to this person and their spouse, I made amends to both of them, but I had to do it in such a way that I was not. I think I did say something like, I know that I have said things in the past that were hurtful, and I never would have done that if I wasn't drinking, and I'm so sorry for that. Honestly, what I've learned in sobriety that really is so important to me is that the way I see it is the amends that we do in step 9 is an act of opening the door back up to the relationship itself, and introducing the idea that I am living a different way than I used to. And I will I won't do that or act that way again in the future. And then after that amends, whether they forgive me or not, whether they articulate forgiveness or not, because somebody can articulate forgiveness, but actually they don't forgive me. So whatever reaction this person has, it doesn't matter to my sobriety. Okay. It matters what their reaction is. Of course, because you care about them and you want them to, you wouldn't be making your amends if you didn't want them to be okay. But what I'm making the amends for is selfish reasons. I'm making the amends so that I don't pick up a drink. And um, after I open that door, hi, Boris. After I open that door and make the amends, then my role in my relationship is new. It's all new. And I'm communicating to that person that I'm going to play a new role. And this is how I see our relationship going from this point forward. And that is living amends for me. And the living amends, I think, is just as important as the amends itself when you're opening the door. It has been for me because I have seen with my own eyes and experiences my relationships just absolutely bloom after I open that door with step 9. But it's not the I'm sorry that and I'll never do it again thing that makes the relationship bloom. It's the how am I going to behave from this point forward? And it's not about making promises. It's showing a new way of living. And if we do it right and we practice these principles in all of our affairs, we're going to introduce that person to something that they most likely have never seen before, which is someone completely changing their way of life. That's not something that we see every day. And I was thinking of that this morning and that's why I used to say people don't change, because I never saw anybody change. I always saw the same behavior no matter what. If somebody apologized to me, nothing changed. They do it again, whatever it was. And I had never been exposed to somebody making a commitment to change their way of life. But that's what sobriety has been for me. That's what my program has done for me. So to be able to expose our loved ones to that gift, that it's something that's possible, is trickling out hope for change to people who aren't even alcoholics. I think that this program is something that ripples out, I should say. It ripples out to those around us. And I feel like provides this level of hope that we can all change. We can all make a commitment to be better human beings. And that's one of the reasons why I like to do the podcast. I mean, I talk a lot about why I like to do the podcast. And it's because I need that reassurance, really. I need that reassurance of why I'm here and why I'm doing this, because it is very vulnerable for me to do this. And I slip a little, every so often. And I've done it a couple times this month where I'm slipping back into, what am I doing this for? I'm exposing my deepest, darkest sides. I'm turning myself inside out and saying, here, this is what I am. This is what life has done to me, and this is my response to it. And that gets a little nerve-wracking every now and then. But yeah, one of those reasons why I do it is because I believe that the program has the power to ripple out to people who aren't even alcoholics, that they are exposed to folks that are willing to make a change, and that willingness to make a change becomes a way to make a difference in those around us. So this step 9 thing, one of the promises is we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And throughout the time that I did my step 9, I still didn't quite believe that I would not regret the past, or nor wish to shut the door on it. Like what I wanted to do was regret it and shut the door, because if I shut the door, I don't have to look at it anymore. And regretting it is a simple, that shouldn't have happened, and I don't want to ever do it again. And that stuff didn't fix me. That way of life didn't fix me. Like, I have to learn from the past. So I cannot close the door on it. I have to look back. But yet I can't change it. No matter what I say, I can't change what I did. And I have some folks, loved ones in my life that have passed since one passed before I got sober. And I think about all the time that I wish I could have said, I'm sorry. I wish he could have seen me sober. I wish he could have seen me sober. But I have to believe, I incorporate that into my image of my higher power. My image of my higher power includes people who have passed that that lift me. Even in their passing, they lift me and help me be who I am today. Their memory, taking those instances where I look back and think, I wish he could have seen me sober. If I have faith in my perception of my higher power, if I truly have faith in that, then he is seeing me sober. So that's how I choose to do it. That's what helps me stay sober. And another thing I was thinking today is, how I've always been kind of doubtful about my conception of God and higher power and all that stuff, and how I'm like, I almost blow it off a little bit. Like, I don't know, I don't really know what I think, but whatever it is, it seems to be helping me. Well, this morning I thought, why am I blowing this off? Like, when I was in San Francisco that day, for those of you who are lifetime listeners, remember when I was talking about walking around the block of my hotel numerous times and not stopping to get dinner because I was afraid I was going to stop and get a drink. And eventually I kept thinking nobody would know, nobody would know, nobody would know. And then I stopped and realized my higher power would know, and I would know. And it was that instant that I believe I see today, or that I'm thinking of today, that my faith became real. My faith became something I could trust. My faith became, it solidified. And I don't know why since that day, I kind of blow it off because it was that moment. It was that moment that has defined the rest of my sobriety. I recognized at that moment my higher power would know and I would know. And that to me means that me and my higher power were like this now. And I don't care what anybody says about it. It's still not something that I like to talk about because I feel like my experience in life has been that it's very off-putting when people talk about their religious beliefs. And I'm not off-put by it, but I've seen other people be off-put by it. So I just don't like to do it. Anyway, I've been doing it more and more, at least in this podcast, and that has felt good. But step back to step 9. So these people that we make amends to, they're going to see this new way of life. And that moment when you're opening the door to the relationship and you're saying, let's look at it. Let's look at what has happened between us. And I'm going to talk about my role and just hand that to you. And it's up to you. You do whatever you want with it, but I'm cleaning my side of the street. That is hard because some of us have done things that are absolutely embarrassing and humiliating. So to actually say, all right, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it and it's going to feel terrible. It's going to feel terrible. It's like, okay, let me look at this paper cut I have and I'm just going to stretch it open and look inside. Like, that's terrible. But that's what it's like. It's hard to do. It's not something that's natural, especially if one has lived a life of not looking at it, covering it with alcohol, and then just not learning from our experiences. It's hard. Sorry, I had a dog hair in my mouth. Too many kisses. Yeah, I know, nasty, but um, it's hard, but it's liberating. I heard somebody say that this morning. It's hard, but it's liberating. And that is so true. I can't change what I did, but I can acknowledge that I did it. You know, I can't change the past. And what I've learned over the past 3 years is that I can plan all I want for the future, but it's unknown. It just plain is unknown. And I have been led through this maze of confusion over the past year and a half where I'm seeing how much of my future cannot be planned. And that has been really, really scary for me because I thought that what I was doing in my life was planning and implementing. That's what I have felt like I've been doing my whole life. I plan and I implement. This is what I'm going to do. I do it. Now, this is what I'm going to do, and I do it. Well, when I had my stroke, it's like I said, I'm going to go back to work, and I did it. Well, I couldn't keep doing that. My body was not able to lift the heavy weights that I was telling it to lift. It just couldn't do it. So the future is clearly unknown. I can still plan and I can still implement, but now there's this very important part that I was ignoring, and that is life is going to happen. Life's going to get lifey. That's what I hear all the time. Life's going to get lifey. I have ignored that. I have resisted life. I say, I don't care what life happens to me. This is my plan, and this is what I'm going to implement, and I implement it. Well, there are some things that just will not allow you to implement your plan. And that's what has happened in my life with this stroke. And what I've had to do is make new plans. And that has been like this. I felt like it's been a pivotal point in my life. And it has, it's been a pivotal point, but I don't think I have pivoted as quickly as as I thought I did. I am just slowly turning my head. I'm slowly turning my head to look in a new direction. And that's okay. I have to give myself grace. Um, and that's not something I'm used to. I'm not used to, I feel like I'm not afraid of change. I like change. But this is not the life that I had planned in any way, shape, or form. And now I'm just slowly turning my head towards this new life. I had to sit and think about ideas, think about what can I do with what's been given to me now, today. Um, and that's all I have. We say in my morning meeting every day, we only have today. Um, that's what I have. I have, what can I plan for today? Because more and more, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to, like my husband and I are deciding we're going to go to a fast food restaurant this weekend. He's been talking about burgers for weeks now, a fast food burger. So I'm like, let's just go to a fast food restaurant. We don't want to order it because then it's not good by the time it gets to our house. So we're going to go to a fast food restaurant. I don't know which one, but I can't, I'm going to plan that. That's fine. I'm going to plan it. We're going to go to a fast food restaurant. But if I wake up tomorrow and I don't feel good and I can't because my head has been triggered, I need to be flexible when life is lifey. And for me, my symptoms is included in that lifiness. So I have to be flexible. Really, all I have is right now. And I sat down because I'm going to go through the Christmas lists of people we bought Christmas presents for, just to make sure I covered all the bases. I'm a big Christmas person. And sorry, my mind's going blank now. Abort. Hold on. What was I saying? Oh, and I thought, no, I'm going to do my podcast episode. Like the dogs are here, they're both laying down. And I realized I opened up my computer and I looked at it. It said, we only have right now. That's what came up on my screen. And I thought, yeah, like forget everything that's happening today. Every plan that I have had today, I only have right now. And right now, I'm going to sit and swim in my sobriety. I said, when I shared this morning, I said, people, I am reeking of sobriety right now. And like several shares after that said, yeah, I'm reeking too. I'm going to reek sobriety today too. And that means practicing the principles in all of our affairs. Not waiting until the next time I practice step 9 to make amends, like stay in steps 10, 11, and 12 And if I find that I have not been the best version of me that I could be in my role with somebody else and with our relationship, that I can address that right away. Um, my life has changed dramatically, and I hope that I have been able to practice these principles in all of my affairs despite that. I know that it's been really, really freaking difficult to do that. Um, but I need to in order to not pick up a drink. And that leads me to this idea of staying away from the first drink. Like I've heard over and over again that somebody who's going to pick up a drink actually decides that they're going to pick up the drink months before they actually do. Um, and I believe that. I do believe that if I were to pick up a drink, in the near future, I feel like I began setting up myself with excuses far before I pick up that drink. Um, there are times when, like having a stroke, for example, where if I had just the slightest bit of openness to having an excuse to drink, I would have done it. I would have done it when I got home after my stroke. And I didn't do it. It's important. The people in my second meeting, they always say, there's one thing I need to remember today, and that's that I don't pick up a drink no matter what. And I think that that's a great way to start your day, no matter what thing happens, because I could have another, God forbid, but I could have another stroke today, anything could happen today. All I have is right this second. And those events that happen, I heard somebody say once, are spiritual checkpoints. They're not things that are supposed to bring us down. They're things that are supposed to lift us up higher. It's like putting another free weight on your barbell to lift up more stuff. I'm more capable of carrying things in sobriety when the more spiritual checkpoints I have, the more free weights I add to my barbell, the more that I can lift if I keep practicing lifting them. The last thing that I ever wanted to do when I was in active alcoholism and I wanted a drink was to pick up the phone and have somebody talk me out of it. That's the last thing that I would have wanted to do. And I didn't. I didn't do it, which is why I kept drinking. What I shared this morning was it's like my husband bringing a box of oatmeal cream pies home, and then I say, please talk me out of having one. Like, I'm not going to do that. If I want to have one, not only am I going to not ask him to talk me out of it, I'm going to wait until he goes downstairs and I'm going to have two, because that's what my compulsion, my obsession has me do. I'm sick. I'm very sick. I'm still sick. I'm not drinking. And that's what keeps me balanced, because if I have a drink, if I have two oatmeal cookies, like that's the end of it. I'm going to finish the box. And that's wine for me. If I have one, I'm going to finish the box. And that's what I used to drink, boxed wine. So it's important that I continue to practice these principles in all of my affairs. If I feel like I have, and this happens over time as we're sober, if I have another resentment that I feel I have not addressed, previously, I need to talk to my sponsor about it and say, let's talk about what I can do for this one. Because I forgot what happened, that's my issue. So, one thing that I am going to do is I decided is I'm going to go through the 12 steps this month before Christmas. So each day I'm going to cover steps 1 through 12. So I'm going to count down to Christmas Eve. So that would mean, quick math, that I'm going to start on like the 11th or something like that, or the 12th. I guess it would be the 12th, right? No, 24, 22. Yeah. Yeah. The 12th. Why is that so hard? I was a math major. I don't know. But I drank all through that math major time. So that's my excuse. Anyway, that's what's going through my noggin today. And thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you tomorrow.